You think this is Aladdin? The airports are closed. The airspace is closed. You couldn't tell me this last week? You're messing with me. Leave now. When? Where? What? Who?
Some hopeful news for the thousands of Americans stuck in the Middle East. The State Department says a charter flight full of U.S. citizens has left the region tonight, adding that more flights are on the way. This comes just days after Americans were urged to leave the Middle East immediately. Those Americans who need help getting out have been advised to call the 24/7 State Department hotline at 1-202-501-4444. But as recently as yesterday, people calling that number heard this message telling them, well, you're on your own.
If you are calling about the crisis in the Middle East, please press 1. If not, press 2. Please do not rely on the U.S. government for assisted departure or evacuation at this time. There are currently no United States evacuation points.
Now, to be clear, that message has since been changed, and Americans in need of help are still advised to call that number. But the incident has only added to the anxiety of those people who are still stuck overseas. My next guest, though, is turning to levity to try to get through it all.
America just put out a statement that if you're an American in the Middle East, you need to leave now, ASAP. I'm in the Middle East right now. Tell me, please, how am I supposed to leave? Huh? You want me to hop on a magic carpet and get back home? You think this is Aladdin? The airports are closed. The airspace is closed. You couldn't tell me this last week? You're messing with me. Leave now. When? Where? What? Who? Wow. No, honestly, if I could do a magic carpet, I'd leave. If you have information, which you might, tell me how to turn this carpet and I'll whole new world back to California.
That comedian Nasser Al-Reyes joins me now from Dubai. Nasser, I mean, you have been in Dubai for over a week. I understand you go there every year during Ramadan to visit family and friends, but can you tell me at what point did it become clear that you wouldn't be able to leave?
It was very clear around like 4 p.m. Saturday that when I heard the first explosion in the air, I was like, I called my mom, like, Mom, I'm not coming home. And she was not happy to hear that, to say the least.
I'm sure she wasn't. I mean, we've kind of walked through this journey with you. You actually recorded your experience calling that hotline just yesterday. I want to play that moment for people.
Do you know what happened when I called the number?
If you are calling about the crisis in the Middle East, please press 1.
One.
If not, press 2. Please do not rely on the U.S. government for assisted departure or evacuation at this time. There are currently no United States evacuation points. Please continue to check the embassy's website for updated information.
What the does that mean? Am I in a Hunger Games movie now and I didn't choose to be in it? Huh? What do you mean I have to figure it out? You put me in this situation.
I mean, I have to smile because the way you present it makes me do it. I gotta tell you, but I take it you're not thrilled with how they have handled this. I mean, have you been able to get in contact with them since?
No, honestly, after hearing that message once, the trauma that you get and the gaslight feeling that you have, you kind of just don't want to pick up the phone ever again. I used to have some stress and anxiety from the explosions and the interceptions out here over the head, but now I have more stress and anxiety towards how the U.S. government really is not caring about American citizens. It's not a pleasant feeling when you call the hotline and it says you're on your own. And so I'm not sure what to do at this point. My mom is calling me almost every 2 hours, wanting me to come back home, but I'm doing all right. I'm safe, which is the most important thing.
It is. I mean, I know that we're learning that charter flights facilitated by the U.S., they have begun evacuating citizens. The State Department says that there are more on their way, but they wouldn't commit or comment on when these flights would take off, citing, of course, security concerns. Have you been given any indication on a timeline or any kind of timeline of how soon you might be able to return home?
If you've heard something, please, Laura, let me know, because I have heard nothing. And the situation at this point is that I watch the news and I'm being gaslit by the press secretary of the United States saying it's my fault that I'm in this situation, when honestly the actions of the government put me in this situation. And now there's no information at all about when there's going to be a charter flight. I'm consistently looking on Twitter or X, whatever they call it, to see if there's information, but there's not anything that I've heard so far. I've literally had to book, I think I booked like 6 flights and they've all gotten canceled around 4 hours before I get to the airport. And so I'm not really sure what to do, but I'm doing fine. I was walking on the beach today. I saw a proposal, which, ladies, it shows that if a man wanted to, he would, even during a war. So I'm enjoying my time as much as possible. Someone got married. We're doing okay.
I love that you can find this silver lining because I can imagine how stressful and scary it has been for so many people who are still stuck. But of course, you are doing what you do best in finding humor. How have you been able to find the humor in these moments?
It's as a comedian, it's my job. I'm immediately inclined to think of humorous situations in very tough situations, how I was raised, and there's nothing else I could do. I'm gonna stare at a wall and just, try to like be very somber about my situation. I gotta, make light of it. It's the only way I can cope through it, to be honest with you. It's not a pleasant experience to hear explosions. I'm a privileged kid in California. I haven't had to live this. My family left Syria, in order for me not to hear these things. And now I came back and my mom's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's not your fault. It's the government's fault. And so you gotta use humor, it's you're being tested in different ways. I was praying in the mosque the other night and I literally heard an interception overhead, and I get scared. And then the uncle next to me breathes his onion-infested breath into me. And I'm like, God's just testing me in different ways, and you got to make a joke out of it. It's the only thing you can do because if you sit there and sulk, it's only going to get worse.
Well, Nasser's mom, as one mom to another, I agree with you. Stop laughing, Nasser. Also, we want you home. Thank you so much.
Please get me home.
The first charter flight evacuating Americans from danger has now left the Middle East. The message from the State Department about all this is basically more is on the way. The way they're putting it is additional flights will be surged throughout the region. Iran has targeted hotels and airports, as we have seen in U.S. ally Gulf states, and the pressure continues. The Trump administration, though, is also facing pressure and criticism as they threatened, of course, for weeks that an attack against Iran would be coming even, but they didn't also have an evacuation plan for Americans in the region in place. CNN's Kevin Liptak is at the White House covering this for us. What are you hearing about the evacuation plan now?
Well, you do start to see some of that logjam being cleared up of Americans and other nationalities as well who are trying to leave the Middle East. The State Department is not actually saying where this charter flight left from. They're not saying where future charter flights will be leaving from. They're sort of communicating directly with Americans who want to get on them, but they're leaving some of the operational details private for security purposes, which I think does underscore just the grave security situation that these Americans now find themselves in after being essentially trapped in the Middle East without an evacuation plan before this war began. We heard from President Trump say that this war began very quickly, that there wasn't time to put in place the kind of evacuation plans that would be needed to get all Americans out. Now you see a scramble on the part of the State Department to really try and bolster the resources. In addition to these charter flights, you hear the State Department working to try and secure military aircraft to try and help Americans book whatever limited commercial flights are available. Listen to what Marco Rubio told Americans in a message yesterday.
I wanted to take this chance to speak directly to Americans who are in the Middle East about the work we are doing to try to keep you safe. So immediately following the beginning of this operation, at my direction, the State Department activated a 24/7 task force. In order to receive these updates from the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate, you have to register with the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. You have to register with STEP, and here's where you do it. You go to step.state.gov.
So the State Department trying to stand up very, very quickly this initiative to get Americans out. So far, they have provided assistance to nearly 6,500 Americans. That's according to a State Department official. In all, over 17,500 American citizens have returned to the United States since the war began on February 28th.
Kevin Liptak at the White House. Another busy day over there, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Well, two stranded Americans join me now. Dr. Michael Gardner is a cardiologist, and Dr. Aditi Mittal is a pediatric gastroenterologist. Thank you both for talking with us.
Good morning, Rosemary.
Good to see you. So you're both stranded in the Middle East right now. Michael, describe to us what you've been going through since Saturday when this war started.
Yeah, so we're trapped in Doha. It's been very calm and well organized for the most part. But of course, there's a lot of uncertainty regarding the future and how we're going to move forward and get home safely to our friends and family.
Absolutely. And Aditi, how difficult has it been to get help from the US government to get a flight home?
Yeah, so we signed up for the STEP program online. So we are getting travel advisories. We reached out to the US Office of New Mexico Senator's Office, Martin Heinrich. So we did hear a response from an official that was really helpful. And just now we have signed up for the form that says that will help us get assisted departure. So we are really just hoping and waiting for getting out of here.
Yeah, I mean, it must be so tough and frustrating. And Michael, you thought you were getting out at one point, didn't you? But that flight turned back mid-air about 3 hours or so after taking off on Saturday. What went through your mind when that happened?
Yeah, that was our original flight. After landing in Doha from Delhi, we were going to be flying to Dallas. We were airborne on that flight for about 3 hours before we turned back suddenly. And having checked our flight map, noted that we had been circling Doha the entire time. So that was very alarming, but I don't think the full weight of the situation struck us until we disembarked off that airline and found that there was no information in the airport, on the news, or anywhere. It was going to be a waiting game.
Yeah, I mean, that is the very difficult part of this, isn't it? Aditi, where have you been sleeping, and how have you both stopped yourselves from panicking in the midst of all this? I mean, caught and stranded in the middle of a war.
Yeah, so Qatar Airways has provided us with hotels, meals, and they're also providing us daily updates, which truly is providing us some sense of calm in this uncertainty. And you're right, that's the most stressful part. We are reading news, staying up to date. We have support from our friends and family. That has been the most crucial part. And constantly talking to our fellow travelers from other nationalities, that has been a real source of support as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it helps to actually get information from other travellers as well and sort of get an idea of what's going on. Michael, when do you expect to get home? Any indication at all?
We can speculate as much as we like, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to be patient, hope for the best, and stay as safe as possible.
Yeah, I mean, there are flights getting out and people are landing in America. And so we wish you both the very best. And it's a difficult time for you indeed. Michael and Aditi, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience with us. We appreciate it.